Good, lovely snowy day, and little tour around our frost and snow kit. So here we have a tractor with a Fleming 300 litre fertiliser and salt spreader on it, which isn't too bad. You need to get the right salt that will flow. He has blocked up a few times, but most of the time he will flow and spread quite nicely. Usually get one, or there's two holes, 2 feed holes on it, and one of them is usually blocked, so it's either chucking left or right, and you just constantly have to keep an eye on it. So the salt kit is just this little skirt and this little agitator inside, and that'll do most of the main roads around here. I rarely put it on unless it's snowy. If it's sort of slightly snowy, frosty, then I'll just chuck ice on the corners and slopes, and I usually leave the straights because most of the time people can drive in a straight line without crashing. But never underestimate people. So yesterday this snow plough was out. This was built about 6-7 years ago. It was on the loader, and then as soon as we got the Kubota with a nice warm cab, it got adapted to 3-point linkage, and now goes on the back of the nice warm cabbed Kubota. So this was made up by myself and local metal merchant. So the metal merchant bent this main piece of metal, 3 bends on it. We got an inch thick rubber down the bottom, which is probably a little bit thick. It's a bit sort of harsh. Could do with being a little bit thinner on the bottom. And then I welded all this rest of it up together, and works pretty well. So it's quite a nice job clearing the main roads nowadays. I don't know how much that, I can't remember that. I think it was about sort of 500-600 quid in the end, plus my time putting it all together. So most of the time for general salting we're using just brown salt in bags, which are, we got salt bins dotted around the site, plus keep a little bit in here. This is a new shed for this year, so I keep a little bit in there. We got a main salt shed down the other end of site where most of it is kept, plus we got a couple of bulk bags of white free-flowing mainly salt. So that's been out the last couple of days, and now I've got my handy little shopping basket on the front to carry shovels and buckets and salt, all guarded by a minion. And that's pretty much it. So I spent yesterday, Sunday, just trundling around clearing the paths as much as possible. We've mostly only got early years in at the moment, so I focused on main roads and the junior school, getting that clear. And it's also for things like emergency access, which will never happen, but just in case. So it's just a case of scrape these off and then get some salt down in the afternoon, and it all looks rather pretty out here. So we had about that much snow. We had a little sprinkling last night as well, which was a bit of a pain in the buttocks. But yeah, it's all looking rather nice, and I'm a lot happier when it's cleared and ready and I can have a cup of tea knowing that nobody's going to break their neck anywhere, hopefully. And everyone's got access to everywhere they want to go. There's such a maze of paths and little paths in the main school. It takes a while to do. It takes a while. I was out for about 5 hours yesterday till it got dark, and I'm just carrying on this morning with small areas. But yeah, it's quite a nice setup. So most of the day yesterday was spent in the Kubota doing the main bits, so it's quite pleasant. About it really. It's quite a nice setup now. It's just me on my Todd at the moment, so I was able to get site cleared in time for Monday with our setup as it is. Now I've got a few more paths to do. Trouble is, old Kubota gets a bit salty now. You need a nice little pressure wash off. The worst bit is this salt gets in here. I don't like salt getting in here. I've already spotted its first little rust patch on one of the windows. Don't think you can see it here. Yeah, just in there is a little bit of salt. A little bit of rust. So that's it. That's a few grand knocked off its resale price. Of course, when the salt turns up on its ton bags or ton pallets, we now have the 3-point linkage fork, so I can move a ton around where I want, which is also very handy. So I can just take the pallet of bags around and fill all the bins up, and then put the spares in the shed. But yeah, that's about it. Waffle waffle. Got another day of this. We've got a frost tonight, and then we're back to just middling cold and wet again. Apart from that, I hibernate in here, and I've got these 3 gang units to refurb. Just got to go through them, make sure everything moves and is greased up and grease is getting to where it is, and all the threads are all cleared and moving. So probably a day's work for all 3, maybe a bit more. Depends on how it goes. But hopefully it'll warm up a bit. It's pleasant enough in here. We have got a couple of fan heaters in here, but I'd rather not use them. I'd rather just have normal, nice weather to work in here, so I can feel my hands. Apart from that, I've been doing a bit of tree work, but yes.